We just had a court hearing last Friday. It was at the Supreme Court, so we've actually taken it all the way to the upper court level because I wasn't having any success reaching any good decisions or anything that was working at the lower level family courts. At the Supreme Court hearing, they did decide that my court order with visitation with my children would be back into effect. The court order was suspended last June, and so for 1 year, effectively, I had no court order to see my children. Now, mind you, I had no court order to see my children, yet I was paying child maintenance every month, 500 euros, and with no access to the children at all whatsoever. Now, the Child Welfare Department did manage to set up some very short visitation, which was 55 minutes at my son's school, only my son. And it was twice a week. It was not always happening because sometimes the day would fall on the holidays when school was closed. And like, for example, Christmas holiday when it was the schools were closed for several weeks, I didn't see him at all. Even for my child's birthday, I was not invited to the birthday party. I did not get in. I asked to bring a cake to the school, and I was not allowed to bring the cake and watch him blow his candles. I was allowed a short visit, 55 minutes after school supervised, just to see him. With my daughter, however, I had no access, no visitation for over a year.
Why is that?
She refuses to see me. Now, it's obvious that parental alienation plays a role in this. She's only around her grandmother, her grandparents, basically, the majority of the day and night, most of the time, and a small amount of time with her father. And so she hears things just from them, what they're saying, and one side of the story, obviously, and she's decided in her mind that she doesn't want to see her mom, so she refuses.
So, what kind of stories does she hear? I mean, did she say something in court concerning the opinion she has that her mother is a stranger or she doesn't want to see her?
No, even the welfare department says that she doesn't give, she never, or I should say rarely gives a reason as to why she doesn't want to see me. Now, a little over 2 years ago, when I was visiting her, she was 100% fine with me. I have pictures. She was sitting on my lap, she was talking to me, she was playing with me, she was completely fine with me. And then some stories evolved, and the stories kept changing. She was saying that I didn't, that a man in USA locked her in a room, and then she was saying that I was beating her, and now the story changes so frequently, I don't know what the story is anymore. She seems to have some excuses, but again, when the welfare asks her, why were you fine with your mom a couple years ago, and now you refuse, she doesn't have an answer. There's just no answer. She's never been alone with me at all in 4.5 years, so I've never had a chance to tell her how I'm feeling, ask her how she's doing, tell her some things about me or about her, or even wish her happy birthday on her birthday. Nothing. I've had no contact. So it's very hard to develop a relationship with her from nothing. I mean, I'm not given any opportunities to see her.
How old are the kids now?
My daughter's 9. My son just turned 6. And they were taken at the ages of 1 and 5.
Okay. How were they taken?
My ex-husband and his mother came, per agreement, to the States and picked up the children because I had filed for a divorce in the States. The divorce proceedings were taking place. In the meantime, my ex-husband had filed kidnapping charges against me that were later dropped, and I was never charged with kidnapping. But because that had happened, he filed those charges. We decided to do a mediation pilot program and come to an agreement to share the kids until the final custody order was issued, which in my opinion, mediation is one of the best routes in divorce cases because you can come to an agreement that's best for you and the children without all of the legal problems, which is what I was thinking at the time. So we came to a written agreement that he would come pick up the children and that we would share the custody of the children until the final court decision was made. He took them back in Cyprus with his mom, Now, he had Cyprus passports made without my signature, and he still has those, and I'm not quite sure how he has those. And he cut off all communication. I mean, wouldn't answer phone calls, no Skype, cut off communication completely from the children and I. Then he put them into a situation where they were no longer speaking English. So they don't speak English at all. My son speaks a little English only because I was teaching him twice a week at school when I was going there. My daughter's English was suffering severely. I don't know if she even understands me when I'm speaking to her.
Mm-hmm.
I heard now that just recently she started taking English lessons. My son, he doesn't go to English lessons, but I've taught him some words enough that I speak half Greek. I go to University of Cyprus, I take Greek language classes, so I speak enough that we communicate somehow.
Mm-hmm.
We find a way. But I just find it very sad that 2 children born in the USA don't speak their mother tongue.
Mm-hmm. So basically, Mala, now that every time you try to get in touch with your children or even visit them,
Yes.
what went on
Well,
in this situation?
that's a problem. First of all, I'm blocked from the telephone. So if I call my ex-husband's number, it rings busy. He's blocked my number. If I call his mother's phone, the same. I'm blocked from their Facebook. I'm blocked from all communication. They've never given me a personal email address. Nothing. So I have no way to contact my daughter. I found out from the courts that my daughter has a mobile phone because he asked me to pay her mobile phone bill. But yet I don't have her mobile phone number. So I'm not even allowed to call her on it, but I'm expected to pay the phone bill. Many things like that just don't make sense to me. And for me to go to court is supposed to be the justice system where you go to find justice. And to pay money for lawyers to fight the justice system to get a court order that's never been enforced is a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like what's the point of having a legal system if the court orders are not enforced?
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to pick up my children and they refuse to come with me, and I go to the police and I file a report, but nothing ever happens and nothing's ever enforced, how will it ever change?
What does the police say when you go in to file a report?
They're only allowed to write the report, and they ask me to send a letter requesting a copy of the report. Then it goes through the whole process, and then in the mail, eventually months later, I receive a 2-3 sentence report saying what happened on that day. The children didn't go with Márla on the date of her court-ordered visitation, and that's it. And then the lawyers are supposed to collect all of those and go to court and ask for enforcement or ask for contempt.
Mm-hmm.
My lawyers have asked for contempt in the past, but the judges, the contempt charges disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
let's say. Not quite sure how, but they just disappear. Nothing ever happens to my ex-husband.
Does the U.S. government or even through the U.S. embassy can help in any way in this situation?
The U.S. government supports me. They're behind me. They're fighting many things, but they've tried to contact the Cyprus courts on many occasions. I had court orders from USA demanding the return of the children back to the USA. Eventually, I had to set aside those orders because the courts in Cyprus would not let me have any visitation with my kids because my ex-husband feared that if the kids came with me, I would take them back to the States because I have full custody in the States. I set those orders aside just to have a relationship with my kids because to me, I moved to Cyprus. The most important thing for me is to see my children. I gave up my work, I gave up my life, my friends, my family, everything to come to Cyprus to be with my kids. Now, if I'm going to be here sitting here without my kids, what's the point? I mean, for me, if I'm going to be here, I need to start seeing my kids. Something has to change, something has to happen. So, for me, the biggest issue is the enforcement. I have no enforcement on a court order, and the children, there's no reason that they shouldn't be with me.
Have you asked to see somebody in a higher position? I mean, like the Attorney General, even the President?
I contacted the President's office. I did have a meeting at the Presidential Palace with an employee. I also contacted the Attorney General's office by letter. I sent about 15 letters to the Presidential Palace, also the Attorney Generals, the Ministry of Justice. Many organizations were copied. I didn't get any responses. I sent a double post that they had to sign. I have all the signatures that they received my letters, but I didn't get any responses, no telephone calls, nothing.
Why do you think that happens every time?
I'm not sure, to be honest. My letters are in English when I send them. It could be one of the reasons. Maybe they get too much mail and they don't have time to respond. It just boggles my mind that in a serious situation like this, somebody wouldn't be saying, okay, something's going on here, maybe we should look into this. And I'd like to mention that I'm not the only person in Cyprus dealing with this exact same situation. There are many. I'm involved in an organization that we have many parents that they're going through the exact same situation, many foreign women, many Cypriot men are going through the exact, and even Cypriot mothers are going through the same situation, that they're alienated from their children, the children are brainwashed by the father or mother, and they have no relationship with the children because of the negative thoughts that are being fed to them every day about their other parent. It's sad, it's psychological abuse, it's mental abuse, it shouldn't be happening, and I feel that there's not a lot of awareness, so the organization in Cyprus is to raise awareness about this issue, about parental alienation, and about all the problems surrounding it. And we have big obstacles in front of us and challenges because the court system in Cyprus does not allow, it in fact promotes further alienation by making the court process take 4.5 years to get a court order. And in the meantime, the children are suffering. The children are the victims of all of this. They're suffering.
Márla, we've had U.S. official visitations in Cyprus. Have you tried to contact them through the U.S. government in any way to help you reach out to government officials here in Cyprus?
Yes, absolutely. I've been in constant contact with the Cyprus Embassy in USA. Also, the government officials in USA, like Jackie Walorski, she's a congresswoman from my district. She speaks on my behalf at Congress. She has hearings in USA about my case specifically with the Ministry of Justice in USA. And they have tried on many occasions to contact people here in Cyprus, and they just don't seem to get anywhere. I don't ever get anybody calling me and saying, hey, so-and-so called me and we need to schedule a meeting. No meetings, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
How about human rights organizations here in Cyprus? Or even, I don't know if you know Miss Lida Kursumba.
Yes. Lida Kursumba is the child commissioner. She's been appointed to my case. They've assigned an attorney representing just my children in court. We asked for that to be appointed. It has been appointed. But it took over a year for them to see my children. I've heard now that they have seen my children. And we're waiting for reports. We're waiting for court hearings. We're waiting for outcomes. So because they were assigned to my case, they are not allowed to meet with the mother or father. They are representing the children in court. So I'm not allowed to have direct contact with them.
Okay, but if the children are being brainwashed, how would they come to a right decision about what's best for them or whose parent is, which one of the two parents is right?
Yeah, unfortunately in Cyprus there's not a lot of awareness around parental alienation. And certainly there's not a lot of experts in the field that are dealing with it on a daily basis that can go in and evaluate the children and say, hey, look, there's some problems that we have going on here, which to me are apparent as their mother, because a mother can see those things in their child. But we've never had a diagnosis, we've never had an evaluation, we've never had proper psychological evaluations of the children.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they have been ordered to visit Makarios Children's Hospital psychologist, but
No one.
I don't have any, I've never seen a report, I don't know. I think they went maybe one time.
Okay, so what are you thinking next?
Well, I'm looking to raise some more awareness about the situation and how sad it is for the children that are involved. And my next steps are to continue fighting in court. I will not stop. I will not stop until I have my children. It's my basic human right. It's the human rights of my children. And it is against EU law, it's against Cyprus law, it's against all law to withhold children from their mother for no reason. And the courts have absolutely no reason that the children are not seeing their mother.
Do you see a way to get through your children so you can change their minds about what they think about their mother?
I know that if my children were given some rebond time with me, like let's say they spent 2 months with me on holiday in Portoras, or we went to the beach and we spent time together, that the entire situation would change, definitely. It's just that I've never been given that opportunity to have time with the children, to show them who I am and how much they're missing out on, and the fun things that we could be doing together, and going to the water park and going to the zoo and seeing things together that they're missing out on. I mean, that's part of their childhood that they should have with their mother.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're at their grandmother's house all day, and I don't know that they go many places around Cyprus and are doing much. I think it's very sad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Márla, what do you do here in Cyprus?
I'm the country manager for Medicals International. It's a medical company. We sell medical equipment and items to doctors.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very successful organization. We have 14 offices in the Middle East, and we opened an office here about 2 years ago in Cyprus.
Okay. So basically, you're staying here in Cyprus just for your children. You left your whole life from the US.
Correct.
And you came here for your children.
Correct.
But yet the courts won't let you visit them because they think that there was some kind of an abuse or anything else.
No, they don't have any abuse, no reason. There's nothing documented, no evidence of abuse, nothing.
Okay.
Yes, I moved here. I work full time here. I have my car, my house here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm settled here. I've been here almost 2.5 years now, and I'm not planning to go anywhere. So I'm just waiting for some cooperation and for the children to start seeing me on a regular basis.
Okay. We will adjust the matter to Lida Kusumba and see how is it going with the process of interviewing your 2 children. And we are sure that if this situation ends well, I mean, it's our opinion that children have to build a relationship with both of their parents.
Of course. It's very
put aside
important.
the differences and take care of their children. Thank you very much for coming here today.
Welcome.
And we hope that when people hear your story, they will start feeling what you're feeling in a way as a mother. If a mother hears your story, maybe she can relate to what you're going through, and maybe other people as well can unite with you or other parents in the how did we call the
parental alienation organization?
Yes, the parental alienation
I
organization.
find it's been very helpful for support for as a parent, because a lot of the parents that are going through the exact same situation are the ones that can really understand you and what you're going through. It's so painful on holidays to sit at home by yourself, especially like when you know your child is down the street from you, literally down the street from you, but you don't have your family, you don't have your friends, you don't have something to go do, and you're sitting home by yourself, and your child's down the street, and you can't even pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, how are you? How was your day? Nothing. It's really difficult.